Good evening, orchestra parents. It's good to see you for this virtual open house 2020. My name is Brian Austin and I'm the Director of Orchestras, and I'm coming to you live from my office here in Shaker High School. My goal for this evening's presentation is to walk you through some of the resources that your students have available to them and for this year in orchestra. I've taken you to our Orchestra 9-10 classroom. The 11-12 classroom looks very similar, but it does have some different content in it appropriate for older grade levels. For the classroom code, you can see that you can make it a little bit bigger so you can see what it is and log in or join as a parent or guardian. Below that, we'll see the meet address. This address never changes for each group, so 9-10, it's the same address for rehearsals, virtual rehearsals or virtual meetings in the morning, and for lessons when they have lessons. They also log into the exact same meet code, so there's no number of Zoom codes floating around that they have to remember or cut and paste. They just come right here and click on the meet code, and that will take them directly to the Google Meets. They join now, and I am usually there sitting and waiting for them. And so it's a very good resource to have for virtual instruction in the morning, like I said, and also for the remote-only students that are not with us this year. They are able to stream in live during the rehearsals that are in the afternoon. So I set up an iPad in the chairs for those students, and those students have a student perspective of what's going on in the rehearsal. They can play along, they can listen along on mute, and then be a part of that rehearsal somewhat. So it actually does add a whole new perspective to the rehearsal atmosphere. Below that, you'll see on the Google Classroom, this is an example of one of the posts that I make. I always like to include some trivia at the beginning, usually about the national holidays of each day. Many of them are not actually holidays, so said with federal holidays, but they are national days. Fun to look at those. And below that, we looked at how a bow is made and some of the best bows that you can buy. Everything from about $35 all the way up to $800. So these are links I share with the students. They're instructional and they're also informative. Below that, you will see some scans of PDFs that I have put on the website as well on the Google Classroom. And below that, some more links. But here's an example of one of the pieces we're working on. This is Evening Sleigh Ride. Click through it, takes you to the PDF where you can download the actual PDF, or you can just print out individual pages for your part. So I encourage the students to print out their music for their part for each song that we're doing in orchestra. The students are not receiving original copies of music this year. They are not sharing folders. They have to provide, I provide folders for them. And I'm asking that if at all possible, they're able to print out their music at home and put it in their own folders. If that is not able to happen, I do have copying abilities where I'm able to copy the music for them, and so they can take it home and work on it. So all the music is theirs personally to keep, as well as the books that we provided for them for lessons. You will also see next to the PDF there is a media player, which is the actual recording of the song. They can listen to that. Click on that. That takes you through to the Evening Sleigh Ride, and they can listen to that song. There's an example of that. They can play along with it by looking at their music. So that's an example of the media player. Daily warm-ups is another thing that we're offering to the students. This is a very good warm-up to do during lessons, and we will also be using it during rehearsals. Lesson sign-ups are up here. So we are doing lessons this year with the caveat that if you take a private lesson, you do not have to take an in-school lesson as well. So private lessons are exempt from in-school lessons. I have a list of private teachers if anybody does need or is interested in taking private lessons. The blue means the students have already attended, the green is in-person lessons, and the yellow is virtual lessons. You can see it's starting to fill up a little bit. I'm encouraging all of the students to please sign up as soon as possible so they can come to their lessons. The instructions are also next to that on a Google Doc. You will see further down that there's private lesson forms, so if you are taking private lessons, you, like I said, are not required to take an in-school lesson, but you do need to fill out this form, have the teacher sign it, and send it in to me so that they get a grade for their lessons. Some other sites that are really good, Sight Reading Factory, and I'll be putting up sites that are applicable to Orchestra and getting them to be better players throughout the year. Down at the bottom, close to the bottom, you'll see variations on an Irish tune. This is the other song I've handed out to them, as well as the song recording. Now, if we were to go over to 1112, Orchestra 1112, you'll see a very similar layout. You'll see that they have a few extra songs that are linked to their classroom and that they will be working on throughout the year that are appropriate for that age level. Okay? So feel free to go on to the classrooms and check that out. Also, feel free to have your students please sign up for lessons. That would be great as well. I do have a Facebook group that is active for Shaker High School Orchestra, and they can go on that as well if they still do Facebook. I hear it's for older folks now. Yeah, so I think they are more into Twitter and TikTok and Instagram. So I don't have either of those for Shaker High School Orchestra. But you never know what might happen down the line. So I want to say thank you so much for listening to this video and watching it. And I hope to see all of you virtually or in person at some point during this year as we navigate through these strange and different times in 2020, 2021. So thank you so much again. I appreciate your time and have a great evening.